Hi YouTube, it's Lena, and I'm here today with something a little different, or maybe not so different for me, since y'all know I love to do tags. But it is the 90s kid tag. Amber F did this, and I will link her video down below. And I thought it was hysterical, so I decided to do it as well. First question, what is your favorite TV show, or what was your favorite TV show in the 90s? I watched all the stuff that was on Nickelodion, so all the cartoons. I actually remember when Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy premiered in like 91. So, I mean, I was like 6 in 91, but I remember when they premiered. So I watched all of those. I loved Rocko's Modern Life, which I think came out a few years later. I watched all that, so it was like SNL, you know, for teenagers, so that was cool because I remember Keenan and Kel got their own show off of it. Amanda Bynes got her own show off of it before she went crazy. Not that I can talk, but... And when I got a little older in like the late 90s, I watched a lot of VH1, so like Behind the Music and all that, and I was really into. See, number 2, favorite toy. My favorite toy, I actually read a lot of books, so that probably counts as a toy for me. I had the American Girl dolls and the, what were they called? Babysitter's Club dolls. I actually had like a Stacy and a Claudia doll. Had them. I had Barbies. Me and my best friend growing up, she had this giant Barbie doll house and we would play out of it all the time, so that's probably it. Number 3, what was your favorite commercial? Now, I really don't remember commercials very well. I know my mom said that when I was a little bitty kid, back in the 80s actually, that I would run around the house and then when my favorite commercials came on, I would stop and watch them. She didn't remember what they were. I don't remember any commercials really sticking out in my head. Like there were the commercials that advertised the McDonald's toys of the season or whatever. Let's see. So I'm sure there are plenty of toy commercials that I loved, but I don't know. Number 4, NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. I liked both of them, but Backstreet was where it was at for me. I was in love with Kevin from the Backstreet Boys, so like the oldest one. Good lord, I don't know, but I adored him, and my best friend was in love with Brian Luttrell, so that was our jam. I remember for her birthday one year, I have no idea if she still has this or not, probably not, it probably got lost in some move, but for her birthday one year, I made her a scrapbook of a bunch of Backstreet Boys pictures that I printed off of my computer, and she loved it. See, number 5, weirdest fashion trend. Oh my god. The 90s had so many weird fashion trends. I remember the little tattoo chokers that were just a band around your neck. I wore those. I remember Buffy the Vampire Slayer back in like the early seasons in the 90s had jewelry that came out that was like crosses on everything. I had those. Like very gothic looking crosses on like chokers and stuff. Because I don't, you guys, some of you guys may know this because I've mentioned it in other videos, but I was a goth in high school, actually. Now, my high school, I was in high school in the early 2000s, but it was definitely showing back when I was in elementary school and junior high, because I loved like the craft and stuff too, so I definitely had a lot of that jewelry. But at the same time, I wore a lot of glitter. Like, I remember having the spray bottle from Claire's that was just spray on glitter that I would like put in my hair, put it on my chest, put it on my face. I had glitter everywhere. I still love glitter, but probably not quite that much. What else? Other weird fashion trends. Capris were really big when I was in junior high. And I think they're hideous these days. I can't wear them. Platforms. Yeah, that was the one that Amber mentioned that I was trying to think of. I had these black, kind of penny loaferish looking platforms that, I'm not exaggerating, were probably about this high off the ground. And I'm 5'4", so those things basically made me 6 feet tall. Or just about 6 feet tall. I don't know how I walked in them. And I wore them all the time. Apparently they were comfortable enough for me. I don't know. Let's see, number 6, favorite collectibles. I mentioned that I collected the American Girl dolls and the books. I collected I did collect, like, every year they would have a holiday Barbie, a Christmas Barbie. I'm sure they still do. My mom would buy me one of those every year, and so many of them are still at home. And some of them that are in the box are probably worth some money now, actually, now that I think about it. What else did I collect? I collected snow globes for a while. I had a bunch of those. I collected these masks that I would hang on the wall. We would get them from the 99-cent store. And then later it was some kind of dollar store. Like, it changed its name a couple of times, but it was basically the same thing every time. And I had this giant collection of them hanging on my wall. They were like these white kabuki looking masks almost, with designs all of them. And now they creep me out, so I don't know what I was thinking. But most things with eyes kind of creep me out now. Like, I'm a little scared of dolls, actually. So I don't know how I was able to ever sleep in those rooms. And I did collect porcelain dolls as well, that my mom still has some of. Let's see, number 7. Which was your favorite Beanie Baby? Beanie Babies were actually like the one thing I didn't collect. I remember having this like white baby seal Beanie Baby, at least I think that's what it was. And that's the only one I really remember having. And then in later years, just because I happen to still, as an adult, like stuffed animals, I think I grabbed a couple of random ones from different garage sales. Like, I think I had a tiger at one point and stuff. I don't have those anymore because my house burned down last year, but they weren't my thing when they were actually like in. Somehow they weren't my thing. See, number 8, how many Tamagotchis did you go through? I did have a Tamagotchi in junior high, and I murdered that thing so many times. I think I only ever had like the one egg and everything, like the one little game, but that poor thing died so many times, it's ridiculous. Let's see, number 9, favorite game console in game. I mentioned this in my gamer tag, which I will link down below, but I actually had an original Nintendo that me and my brother shared for Christmas one year. And we had Duck Hunt and Mario, like the original Mario. I think we had Mario 3 at some point. What else? I know we had a Super Nintendo at one point too. I don't remember which one this game was on. I think it was on Super Nintendo, but one of my favorites to play was Paperboy. Tell me if you remember this game. Well, I think it might have been on Super Nintendo, or it may have been on both, because they did that sometimes, where you would ride around on a little bicycle and you were supposed to throw newspapers into people's mailboxes. Well, if you missed, you could like break windows, knock people off their swings and stuff like that, and that was all I wanted to do, was knock people off their swings and everything. So I played that a lot. I remember renting that game from video stores. That's the real 90s right there. Not even Blockbuster. We had local video rental stores. The Blockbuster in my town was all the way on the other side of, like, I lived in Vidalia, Louisiana, and then across the river is Natchez. And I lived on one side of Vidalia, and to get to the Blockbuster, you had to go all the way to the other side of Natchez. So we just used regular rental stores. Oh my god, I just rambled. Anyway, sorry. But the other thing, we had a computer starting in about 97, I think. And I remember at school, I loved to play things like Oregon Trail, and there was this puzzle game where you could like click on the puzzle pieces and they would rotate and you would put them in like a triangle shape. I don't remember. I unfortunately don't remember the name of it, but I loved that too. But at home, I don't know if this was 90s or early 2000s, but I had the original Sims game. And I've mentioned before, I love The Sims. I've played all 4 incarnations. I even used to work at EA for a little while. But I loved The Sims too. I was obsessed with them. But that might have been early 2000s, so I'm not sure there. Let's see, number 10, favorite Disney movie. Oh, I lived through the Renaissance of the Disney movies, so I have a bunch of them. Let's see, I remember, I loved Aladdin. I tried to make my mom do my hair like Jasmine's when I was a little kid, and we couldn't ever figure out how she got like the, not fro, but like the volume right here and then the little balls in her hair going down. And I had long hair like she did, but we could never quite figure out how she did her hair. Let's see, I did love Beauty and the Beast. I did love Little Mermaid. Pocahontas was a huge one because my best friend, the same best friend growing up, we were inseparable for ages. She had a giant Miko raccoon stuffed animal. And when I mean giant, I mean the size of a freaking basset hound. This thing was a monster, and her Pomeranian used to make love to it so much so we were afraid to touch it after a while. And that's so random. It's such a random memory right there. I wish she watched YouTube because she would be laughing her ass off right now. I should link her this video because I've talked about her so much. I really liked Mulan, and I remember when I was a little kid, I loved the Rescuers Down Under videotape. I rewatched it all the time. I don't know why I was obsessed with that movie in particular. What else? I remember the direct-to-video Aladdin sequels. We're finally getting married. We're finally getting married. It's a party in Agrabah. And the third one, where they met like the Prince of Thieves, turned out to be Aladdin's dad. Do y'all remember that? Oh my God, I just made an ass of myself in front of dozens of viewers. Alright, anyways. Number 11, favorite music artist. I mentioned I was really into the Backstreet Boys. I did listen to like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and all that in the late 90s. And through it all, I was also hugely into Aerosmith, which I still am to this day. They're one of my favorite bands. But I really started getting into them around the 1994 era, when like the trio of videos came out, the Crazy, Crying, and what's the other one? Oh my God, I don't remember anymore. There was another one where Alicia Silverstone was like a computer creation of some dude's computer, and he was doing like virtual reality crap with her, and I don't remember the name of the song. Amazing! That's what it is. It's Amazing. Like, that's the name of the song. It's also an amazing video. So freaking 90s. I loved Alicia Silverstone. Like, I loved her in Clueless and everything like that. But I also loved her from those videos. So, God. Let's see. Number 12, favorite Nickelodeon show. I mentioned some ones before. I also watched, like, Salute Your Shorts and Hey Dude and Welcome Freshman. That was a really early one. What else? I watched all the cartoons growing up. Like, I think, yeah, I still love Rocko's Modern Life, actually. I watch it on Netflix occasionally. I think that's about it. I don't know, if it came on Nickelodeon, I watched it, honestly. I watched all of them. I remember they used to air Looney Tunes at like 6:30 at night, and that was like the last thing they aired for the day, and I watched that all the time. That was when I was like a little kid, though. I still watch Looney Tunes, so don't get me wrong, but that's like from the early to mid 90s, before they had enough of their own shows. They would air other stuff like that. Favorite candy? I don't know if this qualifies as favorite candy, but I once got paid $5 to snort a pixie stick. Don't do it. It was awful. See, I remember the ones where you had like the stick and you dipped it in a powder and then you sucked it off the stick. God, that's a horrible mental image. Oh, not lollipops, but blow pops. We had a lot of blow pops. And this isn't candy, but I remember when I was a young kid, I could walk to the corner store, for lack of a better term. It was called the Handy Pack. And this is back in the day when Pepsi, this is the only time I ever drank Pepsi. You could get a Pepsi, and these were like little 12 ounces. They didn't even do like the 20 and 16 ounces back then. The 12 ounce was the biggest you could buy, other than like a full 2 liter. But you would get a Pepsi, you would want a free Pepsi off the little bottle cap, and you could keep doing it. I don't remember how long this lasted, but this is the only time I drank Pepsi, and I didn't pay for a Pepsi for like 6 months. It was a horrible idea, Pepsi. That was the only time I ever drank you, was when I could get you for free. I hate Pepsi, by the way. Sorry to those who love Pepsi. Let's see, favorite game to play. I remember my sister had the game where you were supposed to like go around a mall and buy certain things, and they're according to Amber F, she had the same game, or her friend had the same game. There was like a phone attached to it and stuff like that. I also remember the game where you had these little cards with boys' phone numbers on it, and you had a phone and you would dial it and you were trying to figure out which one of the boys that liked you. And they would like, sorry, it's not me, or hi, I really like you. It's old. I remember that being fun to play. I played Clue, I played Monopoly. I was badass at Monopoly, actually. My husband, to this day, refuses to play Monopoly with me because, as he says, I am the luckiest bastard in the world at Monopoly. I roll doubles twice in a row and then roll like an 11 on the third roll. and just be able to buy everything up while he gets stuck in like jail constantly. And it's like, it's not my fault you suck. Let's see, there was also this other game that had a videotape to it, and I need to find the link that somebody put up to the actual tape that it was, because it was so horribly 90s. Oh my god, I need to find this game. But it was like, you were trying to get to this party, and I think it had some kind of phone to it as well. All of these games have phones apparently. But you were trying to get to this party, but you were trying to like do your chores or something like that with it as well. But if you didn't get to the party, these like two nerds would come to your house and offer you like this green bean shake or try to make you drink that or something. I don't know. It's been years since I played it. Alright. I had to find the link to that video and link it down below. It's insane. Because I did watch it a couple of years ago when somebody had put it up and nearly died. Let's see, number 15, favorite books. I mentioned I read the American Girl series with the 5 girls. Well, the 5 girls that were it when I was a kid. Molly, Samantha, Kirsten, Abby, and then whichever one was like the Revolutionary War girl. I don't know. I read all of them though back in the day. Let's see. I read the Babysitter's Club. I actually read back all the way up to the beginning to when Dawn finally moved back to California and they got a new girl called Abby. And I read through all of their, you know, little relationships and breakups. I remember when Marianne started dating Logan and when they finally broke it off forever, and when Stacy wasn't part of the freaking Babysitter's Club for like 5 or 6 books, that she had a big falling out with them. Oh my god. Crazy. Let's see, I read Sabrina the Teenage Witch books actually when I was a little bit older. And I did read Goosebumps, and then later I read all the Fear Street books by R.L. Stine. I also read these books by Christopher Pike, which were like Fear Streets, but a little bit thicker and for even slightly older audience. I mean, like, we could say like Fear Street was for 14-year-olds, Christopher Pike's books were for like 17-year-olds. Like, it wasn't a huge gap, but you could tell the difference. I read all of those. There was this author named L.J. Smith in the Night World series, and I read all the ones that she put out in that. If you can see a pattern, I still to this day love supernatural books when I can find them. And I need to go back and find all those Fear Street and Christopher Pike books and all of those. I know Night World you can get in these like 3-book chunks now. And that's really cool. Because there was only like 11 of them, because I don't think she ever wrote the 12th, or it took her so long to write the 12th that I never read it. I don't know. See, number 16, favorite clothing store. It's Fashion was one that was in my area that I used to go to. That was right on the cusp of 90s and 2000s though, so I'm not sure which one that was. We never had a Target in my area. We still don't have a Target in that area actually, so I can't claim that. What else? Not Target. I did shop at Walmart. Delia's was a catalog that I sometimes ordered from. And they didn't sell clothing, but like Claire's and icing were huge things. That's where I got all my jewelry from. Was Hot Topic 90s or 2000s? Like, did they start in the 90s or did they not start until the 2000s? Because I know I bought out the whole store whenever it did go. And finally, number 17, what would you watch when you got home? I remember this. When I was a kid, there was this show called Wishbone, where it was a dog, it was like a little beagle, I think, that would act out different books. And it was why I read a lot of classic books, because he would act out those. And it came on at 3:30, and if I rode the bus home instead of walking, because they made all of us wait till everybody was gone if we walked, I would get there in time to watch Wishbone. So that one in particular sticks out. So that is it. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I really appreciate it, and hopefully I will see you later. Bye!